AMC stock at the time of recording this video is up 2.32%. Boy, is it a strong start to the week. This is kind of what I expected. I expected, if anything, we would probably get a strong start to the week. And I think the bigger tests for this week are later in the week. Well, not that far into the week, because tomorrow we're going to have a big test for the markets. Now, tomorrow's going to be very interesting, and the way this could go with the markets gets strange, okay? And we'll explain exactly why that is here in this video. Now, AMC stock, it's maybe going to react to tomorrow. I think AMC is obviously the bigger question is earnings, and for anyone that has not heard it, AMC stock will go up on earnings if we get a commitment to not diluting shareholders, as Adam Aaron said back in 2022. AMC stock could go up hundreds of percents if that were to happen. If we don't get that, AMC stock is probably going to fall 10 to 20-ish percent. That's my expectation. That's the way I'm looking at earnings. It's as simple as that. Commitment to dilute shareholders or not dilute shareholders anymore for, let's say, 6 months, AMC stock will perform well. Anything else, I just don't think it's going to be enough to get investors excited about AMC. The problem really is with AMC, there's a debt block coming due in 2026, about $3 billion worth. So if AMC cannot get the share price up, they're never going to be able to pay off that debt. The only way that I think you get the share price up is to basically tell shorts like, hey, you're going to be down in your short position the next 6 months. You better cover that thing right now. That would be if Adam Aaron said, hey, we're not going to dilute shareholders for the next 6 months. I don't know if that happens. You know, I don't. I have no idea. I don't know Adam Aaron. I don't know what he's planning to do. But I think that's the only thing they can do at this point. That's the only thing that's going to get the markets like, wow, look at AMC. I mean, they're taking steps to get their share price higher. Do we want to bet against that? At that point, probably not, right? So that's the bet that I'm making will happen. So I think AMC stock could rally 50+% this week. But we do have a lot of economic data coming out, some big data reports that will be moving our markets. And the first one does come out tomorrow. So here in this video, we're going to go over just that. All of the Stocko tracker data, Ortex data, sentiment data that you need to know, what happened in the broader markets today, and the economic data tomorrow. So let's start with the economic data coming out tomorrow. Here's where things get strange and kind of weird. You're going to get durable goods orders month over month. Now, AMC stock and the broader markets, the small caps, likely react positive on a really bad durable goods orders number coming tomorrow. Likely that would be good for the probability of rate cuts, and whether or not we get rate cuts sooner or, you know, get more rate cuts, right? The worse the data, the more rate cuts. The worse the data, the sooner the rate cuts. That's good for your small and mid-cap stocks. Those are precisely the same stocks that have done poorly in 2024. You're actually seeing an outperformance of those stocks today. That's another reason why I think AMC's up 2% today, is kind of in anticipation of this bad data report that we could get tomorrow. The caveat to this is the expectation for tomorrow's data report is negative 4.5% month over month. That is a huge drawdown. So I want to remind you that a number like that would be bad news for the economy. So is it really good for stocks? Maybe in the short term, could it be good for your interest rate sensitive small mid cap names? But you got to remember that's a negative for the overall economy if we do get a number like that coming tomorrow. With that being said, you have bad expectations for the data coming out tomorrow. So expectations are negative 4.5%. So maybe to impress investors with the small and mid caps, right? If the economy is weakening, we're going to get rate cuts sooner. Maybe you need to see a 5% negative number or 6 or 7% negative number. And then the other, again, caveat there is that's really bad for the economy. Now, if we come in at like negative 3%, That's better news for the economy, better than expected news for the economy, but that likely means higher for longer, and you probably get a sell-off across the markets. Personally, I would go out on the limb and say we're probably not going to come in this bad for durable goods orders. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a -2 or -3 number, but -4.5% is a lot. So if you only fall a little bit, you probably don't get a rally in your small mid-cap stocks, that's for sure. You probably get a sell-off across the board, I would imagine, because it's still like crap. You're still falling 2 to 3% on a month-over-month basis when last month was 0%. So it's not like last month was a big gain for durable goods. That would still be negative, but it's not negative enough. It's not enough weakness to get the Fed, to prompt the Fed to start, cutting rates sooner or more aggressive, right? The markets have went from pricing in 7 rate cuts to now only pricing in 3 rate cuts in 2024. And the S&P and the NASDAQ have basically done nothing but go straight up. So I don't really think there is a strong likelihood of a positive reaction coming tomorrow, because I don't think durable goods orders collapsed, kind of like what we're pricing in. But if for whatever reason they come in at like -5 or 7% or -8% or something along those lines, I would expect AMC small and mid-cap stocks, really your interest rate sensitive names, will likely do really good. Now, coming tomorrow, you will also get S&P Case-Shiller home price month over month and year over year. Last month, you were -0.2%. You're expecting for your data report tomorrow -0.1%. Now, the last time you were this expected to be this negative was back in the start of 2023. December and January of 2023, December of 2022, and January of 2023. Now, during that time, we had less housing inflation. Throughout 2023, really, housing inflation continued to go higher, and that replaced the goods inflation that we've seen in 2022. Now it's flip-flop. Goods inflation is basically gone. Service inflation is, well, seeing disinflation, but housing inflation continues to be very strong. So we're going to get that data coming out tomorrow. The more negative that number is, the better for markets. I think that one's more of a simple read through. Fed Bar will be speaking at 9:05 in the morning tomorrow. You will get the CB Consumer Confidence Index at 10 o'clock in the morning, as well as the Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index, expecting that to be -15. Last month, it was +3. So expecting some big declines there. Yeah, same for the rest of the Richmond Fed data as well. You will get Dallas Fed Services Index expected to be -6. Last month, it was -9.3. So we'll see if some of the cold weather we had last month was just really a fluke in some of the really negative regional manufacturing and services index that we've seen from the regional feds, right? You've seen really bad numbers last month, and a lot of people chalked it up to the weather. Could that have been the case? Yeah, but we'll have to see how things come out. And then on Wednesday, you're going to get your GDP growth rate quarter over quarter, second estimate for Q4. Now, you're expecting this to fall from 4.9 to 3.3%. Now, this is not tomorrow. It's on Wednesday. This is going to be a very big data point. And then on Thursday, you have a big data point. And then even on Friday, you have a big data point as well. Now, the lower, I guess, the better for small and mid-cap stocks. A stock like AMC, you'd want to see this number come in even lower than 3.3%, maybe 2%, 2.5%. That would be very good for small and mid-cap stocks. It would show the economy is not as strong as the data has made it out to seem over the last couple of months, and you'd start to price in more than 3 rate cuts in 2024. So definitely keep that on your radar. Now, here at the time of recording this video, AMC stock is up 2.8%. Google is down 4% today. Kind of insane to see Google down 4% on any given day. That's really having that negative adverse impact on the S&P as well as the NASDAQ today. So Google's a big loser on the day. And we'll see what goes what happens over the next couple of days. You do have sentiment for AMC today neutral at 46, which is surprising because in the last video AMC was only up like 1% or half of 1%, something along those lines, and you had more bullish sentiment. So seeing the sentiment actually going lower today compared to earlier is very strange. Even yesterday the sentiment was at 52 and now it's at 46. Strange. Don't see that too often where a stock goes up, 3% in a day and the sentiment gets worse. People get less bullish. It's kind of strange. Message volume today is 42. It's categorized as low. Earlier in the day, you were at 36, which was really low. The participation ratio is at 56, which is categorized as high. So that is good news. More people talking about AMC will always be good news, no matter which way you want to put it, whether it is, for good reasons or for bad reasons, right? Now you do have short interest percentage of free float at 12.23%, not extremely high, but up 29% from where it was 3 months ago. 3 months ago, short interest was only 9, and a couple months ago, even before then, you were at like 7%. So you've went up like 45-ish%, almost 50% in your total short interest number since really last earnings. So, you're in a better position potentially for, a short squeeze like event now than before. But it's not to say that's going to happen. Of course, again, the only thing, in my personal opinion, that will get AMC stock to rally is if we get a commitment not to dilute shareholders. I can't stress that enough. If we don't get that, AMC stock, I think there's probably a 95% chance we fall after earnings because I don't think the numbers are going to be good. I don't think the guidance is going to be spectacular. I don't think AMC is going to give us anything else to justify weakening fundamentals, weakening kind of secular situation with movie theaters and entertainment overall, especially if the economy gets worse. There's no way to really justify or to send AMC stock higher, in my personal opinion, based on those things. Again, if shorts are like crap, we're going to be down on our short positions for 6 months, we might as well cover now. I think you get a pretty ferocious rally in AMC stock. Just my personal opinion. We'll see what does happen. You do have short interest. Dollar amount sold short at about 100 and $36 million. Days to cover 1.87. 30.63 million shares that are currently out on loan. That are currently sold short. 32.69 million shares currently out on loan. Cost to borrow 1.04%, utilization of 50.25%, and a short score of 64.24 out of 100. So decent numbers there as well. Option activity from hedge funds and institutions today. We still don't have any interesting flow sentiment, which is very strange. I don't think Cortex is updating this today because it's Monday, but we'll have to see. If you take a look at the volume today, volume in the options market, 80.31% calls, 19.69% puts. So you have 4 times as many calls being bought today than puts. 4 times as many. That's insane. That's a huge, bull bear spread there. Not too often do you even see 4 times as many calls being bought than puts. Nobody really has an appetite to go out and buy puts right now on AMC, and I think that is best for their portfolio sakes because a stock can only go to 0, right? AMC is pretty close to 0 right now, being $4 per share. It's not an opportune, stock to buy puts on. Like, what? Is the stock really going to fall 50% from here? Could it? Of course. If Adam Aaron wants to dilute shareholders, of course, could it? But it just doesn't seem like a good logical trade to me. And that's probably why you're seeing more call activity. Now, if you take a look at Stock Tracker data, last week you had a lot of options that expired out of the money, both on the call and the put side. I'm interested to see how we kind of get option activity coming onto the option chain before AMC's earnings on Wednesday. I think we're probably going to see a lot of rolling over from last week, and I wouldn't be surprised if you do see a lot of kind of buy the dip activity in AMC Options. AMC option activity as of right now for this Friday, you do have in the money calls 10,000, out the money calls 39,000, in the money puts 3,900, out the money puts at about 18,000. So decent amount of option activity so far. Today is Monday. I don't think this has updated for any kind of rolling over we've seen from last Friday. We really want to see coming tomorrow morning, and I'm sure the numbers here are going to start looking better. They're going to start looking higher. And even the day of earnings, so on Wednesday, you're probably going to see a lot more people going out and buying some of those weekly options. For whatever reason, people love to buy weekly options, even when, you know, they might get burned every single time. People still go out and do it. So that's something that I'm watching to see if that does happen. You do have 10-year treasury yields that just continue to rise throughout the day. They just continuously, like all day, they rose. And you were up 5 basis points on the yield. 10-year treasury yields currently at almost 4.31%. So just continuous there selling in the bond market, which is interesting, which, you know, in correlation to the data that comes out tomorrow morning, that's a weird move you're seeing today in the treasuries, because I mean, if you were to see treasury yields rise like that, you would expect to see, you know, hot data tomorrow. You would expect to see good durable goods orders numbers, not bad numbers. Bad numbers would imply yield should fall because the Fed's going to cut sooner. Well, if you get good data, that would imply yields may stay higher for longer. So a very interesting move that the bond market is saying. The bond market's actually saying tomorrow's data could come in hot, could come in better than expected, which when I try to, you know, put my trader cap on, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Either equities are wrong or the expectations are wrong for the data, or the bond market is correct and the data comes in better than expected. Very, very strange what's going on. Nonetheless, AMC stock is up almost 4% at the time of recording this video. Your next major level is that 50-day moving average at $4.97 per share. You do have the RSI at 50, so pretty much exactly neutral. And the MACD line is, the yellow line is above the blue line. So that's good news, and you're almost going positive for your overall MACD. So that's, you know, getting pretty good as well. If you can go positive there, that likely causes more buying activity for AMC stock overall. Traders love that when the MACD goes positive from being really negative. They also love when the RSI goes above 30 from being oversold. That's a good moment to start buying a stock, typically for a trade as well. And that's exactly what happened. AMC is over $1 now off of its all-time low of $3.58 per share. AMC stock is currently at $4.60, almost $4.61 per share. And this is pretty classical as well. You get a rally from the bottom, you come up, you touch your 50-day moving average or pretty close to it, you fall a little bit, and then you come back up and you can rock it through. It's going to really depend what happens on AMC earnings, but I think today is just a little bit more confirmation that we might get a rally after AMC earnings. Then again, it does come down to what AMC does, what Adam Aaron does in regards to dilution or no dilution. So let me know what you think about that down below in the comment section. Are you bullish? Are you bearish for AMC earnings? Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.